In this video, I would like to talk briefly about differentiation advantage. Differentiation advantage. As I already mentioned, the differentiation advantage is a generic strategy, one of three strategies that companies can pursue. It's a differentiation, cost leadership, and dual advantage. The differentiation advantage is the one that focuses on selling a product that is more expensive than the average competition, and it might also, and not focusing so much on cost that it takes to make such a product. Again, we can name many companies that are clearly differentiated, especially those companies that are producing luxurious products, such as Ferrari in cars, right? Such as Versace, such as in clothes, right? Such as North Face in outdoor clothes, such as it can be also airlines, right? Such as British Airlines when it comes to flights, right? You can always, can be Shangri-La in hotels. You can name all sorts of companies from all sorts of industries that are focusing on the differentiation. Again, this is not to say that differentiation means that you're ignoring your cost in your business. That would quickly lead you to failure, but it just means that the focus priority is put on being better, being more expensive, being more valuable than the competition. Now, I would like to briefly talk about what kinds of differentiation we have, right? So we have differentiation that is there for tangible products, or tangible differentiation, so to say. That is a differentiation which you can touch, right? So Rolls-Royce, for example, is a different car than Kia, right? You can touch the leather, you can touch, you can feel, you can smell it, you can see the quality of the materials, right? So in that case, it's probably way easier to differentiate yourself, right? Because the customer can come and feel that. However, you have differentiated services. You have a law firm that is cheap and law firm that is expensive, but the law firm that is expensive might want to differentiate as well, but you cannot touch the service, right? You cannot feel that the service is better, and that makes it harder. But there's ways how to differentiate yourself, even if you are providing a product or service that is intangible, and we'll speak about it later on, but it's just way more difficult. The problem with competitive advantage is that it is not sustainable in a way. As one of the CEOs of Walmart said, our problem is that our business is open book. In other words, you want to have a retailer that is as successful as Walmart. There's nothing that prohibits you from walking into the Walmart and seeing for yourself how is Walmart doing what it is doing, right? You can copy the model of Walmart. You can set up a new chain in China, change a few letters, copy everything they do, and have the same retailer. Actually, the same goes for whether if you have a differentiated advantage, right? Such as Ferrari in cars. It's not that difficult to imagine that there will be a new brand that will be set up for sports cars, right? That will try to copy what Ferrari is doing, right? And now the question is, can I protect my competitive advantage? Some companies can, some companies cannot. Those companies that can, mostly it's because their competitive advantage, the differentiation, comes from facts such as innovation. Yeah, you can create another brand of a sports car. That's easy. You can set up your company in Malaysia or in Japan and create supercars, new supercars. But the problem is that a Ferrari, it's not just the cars. It's also the fact that the Ferrari has every few years a new breakthrough model, hybrid, more powerful. Are you able to catch up with that? Their differentiation is because it lies also in innovation. They charge more money for their product because they are better, they're more innovative than the competition. Can you keep up with that? That's a question, right? That's one thing. If your differentiation is based on innovation, it's difficult to copy. The second thing is in your technology. Maybe Google is in a sense differentiated search, right? it's better than any other search that we have available, right? So it's better. You want to copy Google? Well, good luck with that. You will have difficult times copying their technology. The same goes for differentiated car producers, differentiated, for example, airplane producers, differentiated trucks producers, machine producers. If their differentiation is based on technology, it's difficult to imitate, difficult to copy, because you cannot easily see how is done what is done in their product. Sometimes you can guess, you can reverse engineer, but in some things it's difficult to find out, right? Product quality, competitive advantage can come from product quality, right? So you're buying Lexus because you feel that it's really good quality car, right? So that is why you're paying more money. This is the source of competitive advantage for them, the quality, right? So you want to create cars that are similar to Lexus. You want to copy the competitive advantage of Lexus, and you establish that Lexus is more expensive because it's higher quality. Well, it's not that easy to produce high quality cars. It needs years and years or decades of improving your processes to be able to reach the standard that Lexus now has, right? Toyota, in other words, right? So copy that. It's difficult. Set up a factory, that is easy. Start making some cars, that is easy. But start making cars similar in quality to Toyota or Lexus, that is very hard. And therefore, copying advantage, if it's differentiated advantage that is based on quality, is also very hard. One last thing is it's difficult to copy competitive advantage that is based on high quality customer service, because it takes years of training for a company to develop great customer service. It takes a special kind of company culture as well, and you cannot copy company culture. In some companies, people are extremely helpful when it comes to the demands of customers. In some companies, the people don't care so much. You want to copy the advantage of some company, you want to have a similar customer service, similar great customer service like they do, you would have to have the same people like them and the same culture like them, which is obviously very difficult. It's actually impossible. Now, differentiated products need something that is called signaling value. I will write down signaling value. Yeah. Now, what is signaling value? The problem with many differentiated products is that actually you're trying to offer a product that is maybe differentiated based on customer service and quality, right? Not necessarily on the design or something that people easily see. The problem is that the customer never knows that your quality is higher than the competition until he owns the product for years. The customer never knows that your service, your customer service, is better than that of a competition until something breaks. So why would he buy your product? Why would he pay more money to you when he doesn't know that you're providing something extra? He cannot experience that. And that is a big problem for differentiators, right? So how they do that? They signal value. In other words, when they're selling the product, they already are trying to make the sale look like they're selling something special, right? So you go to buy a new Lexus or Lexus is a good example. When Lexus started selling cars in US in the end of 1980s, they had an option to go with the Toyota dealership because, as you know, Lexus is just a brand that belongs to Toyota. So at that time, there's already a network of dealers ready to sell the Lexus cars. But Toyota said, no, we need to build new network of dealerships, which is very expensive, took a lot of time. Why? We want customers that will come to Lexus to feel that it's a different thing than Toyota. So there was some sort of requirements for the dealers at the time. How should the dealership look like? It should be well decorated. There should be marble used, high-tech designs and stuff like that. So when people come and they want to buy a car, they already feel that the car is valuable. That's called signaling value, right? So if you have a differentiated product, you need to especially spend your time and energy on signaling value before the purchase, before the sale itself, right? Because you want to show your customer you have something special. So things like nice offices, right? Nice clothes of the salespeople. nice packaging, if it's a product that you cannot experience until you unwrap it and you experience it for some time, you need to package it really well so that people, even before they buy it, they feel that it is something extra, something valuable. So you have a differentiated product. What you need to do, you need to think of how will I signal the value so that the customers that have no experience with that will still feel that this is something special and they will pay the extra money, which requires a differentiated strategy. Of course, it's not always that you can create a differentiated product, right? Differentiation is easy when you're selling something that is not a commodity. Yeah. So now, what is a commodity? A commodity is things like bread, right? It's things like cement in B2B industry, right? When you're buying bread or cement, well, there will be people who will care about their bread, but most people just buy some bread, right? Or flour. Flour is a great example, like for cooking, right? You go to the store, the chances are you don't really spend too much time choosing the flour, right? So this is a typical market, a typical product, which is very difficult to differentiate because the customers will go and buy, probably the chances are that most customers will buy the cheapest flour, because why would they want to spend extra money for some extra flour if flour is always the same thing, right? So differentiation is possible mostly when there are products that are not commodities, or if you find yourself in a situation where you're selling a commodity. Now you can still find a way how to differentiate it. Now I remember that in Europe there was a salt, right, used for salting. So salt. You use for like put salt on food, like edible salt, right? And that's a typical commodity. Actually, salt tastes like salt, right? Surprisingly, it's salty. There's one company making a salt from Alps, and I don't know if it's from Alps, but what they are trying to do, they say we're from Alps, so we're not just like any other salt. They have a nice packaging, right? And they're adding some sort of iodine to the salt, probably. So now they're trying to make the customer feel that they're different. Well, actually, the salt tastes like exactly the same like any other salt, but it's a little bit more expensive because now they can claim they're kind of like a healthier salt, better salt, and stuff like that. They're trying to go with differentiation, although it costs them some money on the packaging. But yes, this is what they're pursuing. So sometimes you're able to differentiate even in commodity, but it's much harder. So again, differentiation is easier where the products are not commoditized. One last thing I wanted to cover is the hazards of differentiation. So in other words, you cannot always differentiate successfully. If you, in a way, overdo it, and because the differentiator wakes up in the morning, as I said, a strategic leader that wants to follow differentiation, wakes up in the morning and thinks of how can I improve my product so that I can increase price, right? How can I improve my product? Well, if you overdo it and you improve it or add so much stuff into your product that you make it too expensive and the customers will not buy it, then this is not a good strategy. This is not correct way to differentiate yourself. So imagine that Bentley would start making cars from gold, right? So now the car doesn't cost $200,000, but cost $2 million. That would not be, but Bentley would soon find out that no one wants to buy that. No one is paying this extra. The golden car might bring some additional value to some people who are really showy, right? But maybe not. Even them are not willing to pay $2 million for that. So you can always come up with an example of when differentiators are trying to improve their product, put there more and more features, make it more and more expensive, but they'll reach some certain cap where the consumers will say, I don't want it anymore. It's too expensive. Yeah, it's bringing more and more product features, but maybe I don't need those features. So that's over differentiation, right? Yeah. Opposite to that is a situation where you are trying to differentiate yourself, but the differentiation is too small. Yeah. So you are trying to say we have a special product, right? But if the consumer compares it with a standardized, cost leadership focused product, and say, yeah, well, this car has this little bit feature, it's a piece of leather on the seats, but other than that, it's the same normal standard car. I'm not paying extra money for that, right? So differentiation is about achieving the right balance between differentiating too much and being too costly, from to differentiate too much to differentiate too little and not be considered by being anything special by the consumer. So you need to find a sweet spot in the middle.